You may hear a backlash, and that's because as we're recording on YouTube, it's recording the video live. Yeah. Yeah.
People should probably mute themselves if they're not talking.
Yeah, what it is when it's live streaming, you're hearing a background on it. Yeah.
So do you want us to mute ourselves unless we're gonna speak?
Yeah, that would work. That would
Okay.
work. Okay. Okay, hello everyone. How y'all doing today? My name is Precious Van Jury. Welcome to the Angel Wives Project 102. We are recording live on Facebook as we promised. We have all the Angel Wives here and we're ready to come in and give you some good live topic on today, some good live discussion. We're going to start by introducing everyone and having everyone to introduce themselves. Give me 1 second. That was the button I was looking for. I had to mute our live stream on my end so I could hear what I'm saying because I'm repeating myself. Okay, so once again, we're going to introduce again. How y'all doing today? It's 3:10, 10 minutes after. Welcome to the Angel Wives Project once again. My name is Precious Van Jury, as you know, founder of Incarceration Speaks. And we are here to talk about family matters beyond the bars with you today. This is going to be a really interesting and great topic. We hope that you are tuned in. Grab some popcorn, grab a Coke, a drink, whatever you like, even a cup of coffee, and just take this time to chat with us and listen to our conversation. We have some really interesting things to say from some very, very experienced and beautiful women today that makes up the Angel Wives Project panel. And we're going to start by introducing ourselves to you all. Let's start with Miss Janel, Angel Wife Janel Brunson.
Okay. Hi, I'm Janel Brunson. I'm married to Albert Brunson. He's currently incarcerated in San Diego, where I live, at Richard J. Donovan. He's been incarcerated for 12 years, and we've been together for 2 years. And I'm really honored and happy to be here with you all.
Awesome, Janelle. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today. And next, we're going to hear from Angel Wife Tameka Means.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tameka, AKA Fit Prison Wife. My husband is Michael, and he has been incarcerated in the Maryland system for 6 years. But as we know, glory to God, he has been brought home this month.
Amen.
Amen. I'm also a coach. I help prison wives and I help women who are feel like they're stuck and depressed, and they really want to get back to living a happy life and be fit as well. So I help these women get to a place where they're not living in depression, but getting back to the challenge. Chasing their goals, basically. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what it's all about. Getting to your goals and chasing them and accomplishing them. Good, good, good. Nice to have you once again, Ms. Tameka. Next, we have angel wife Tracey Pierce.
Hello, my name is Tracey Pierce. I am married to Jay Sean Pierce, who is located in CSP Sacramento. He's been incarcerated for 15 years and we've been together for 2. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, thank you. Nice meeting you, Tracey. It's so good to have you on with us. We appreciate you dedicating your support and commitment to Angel Wives Project. Also, we have next our panelist, angel wife Anquellia Berry. You're on mute, Ms. Berry.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. My name is Anquellia Berry. I am married to Brian Berry. Brian is incarcerated at Louisiana State Penitentiary, and he has been there for 27 years, wrongfully convicted.
Okay, okay. So good to have you again, angel wife Berry. You may remember her from our last Angel Wives Project. It's always good to have you here. Next, we have angel wife Glenda Vasquez.
Hello, how's everybody? I am the wife of Fernando Vasquez. He is incarcerated for 23 years. Hopefully this November we get our 3rd opportunity with parole. It was nice being here with you guys, with you girls. Sorry, there's bees.
That's okay. Awesome. Watch, girl. Do you have any honey on you? Might want to move.
Right? I just did too.
Good to have you again, Ms. Glenda. This is actually on our 2nd episode. She was on our 1st, if you remember, Ms. Glenda. Again, good to have everyone here. We do have a special guest also that is with us on today, Attorney Kaysia Earley. We're going to have her on in a few minutes. I just want to say that today's topic, we're going to be talking about family matters beyond the bars. I'm going to open up by saying that when your loved one gets incarcerated, it is such a transformational circumstance. And not only that, but it can affect the entire family, from spouses to parents to siblings to children, if there be any. It's a very, very emotional and mental transition that the family goes through. And a lot of times, especially in African-American culture, in minority culture, I'll say that we don't invest in a lot of counseling and therapy on how to transition through things, such as this. So a lot of the information and knowledge that we should have on how to cope with it and how to educate ourselves about it is really not available in our communities. And there aren't enough support groups, unfortunately, or persons that kind of focus on that aspect of someone being incarcerated, which is why God gave my husband and I Incarceration Speaks. We're more on the side of bridging families, bridging relationships, and helping with legal networking and advocacy. And a lot of times the wives of the spouses, we are typically the forefront of that relationship, of that legal case, because we uphold everything together for him as on the outside of it, the situation. Not really on the outside of the situation, but we're on the outside being the advocate for them. And we're taking care of the business with the attorneys and kind of navigating things with the families. So a lot of times people aren't aware of what it entails to be a wife of a man that's incarcerated, and what the position upholds, and what our responsibilities are, and what the family can do to help the spouses and help that incarcerated loved one get to that place that they need to be, to seek their freedom and be successful at it. So this is the point of this segment here. You're going to hear some testimonial stories. You're going to hear some experiences. We have a special guest for you guys. She's an attorney. She has a wonderful testimony on how she was able to transition from being incarcerated herself. She's going to give her testimony about that and how she was able to overcome that and become a successful criminal and civil litigation attorney. We are going to, first, we're going to have each angel wife kind of give a short testimonial on their experience with families, with their own spouses' families, what their relationship is, and if there was some type of bridging gap that had to happen for that to come about. So starting with each angel wife and hearing the different experiences and situations, women out there, you may be able to relate to what they're going to say, what we are going to say, and you may get to learn some tips about, hey, maybe I could do this to make things better, or maybe I should try this approach with my spouse's family members, or get them to advocate in this way. So we're going to be talking about all of that, all of these things here today. The first thing we're going to do is start with Ms. Angel Wife Janel Brunson. We're going to have her give her short testimonial about the position of where she is with the relationship with her family, of her incarcerated husband, between her family and his family. How is that working for you in this time? And can you tell us how long have you been in this journey with your husband? Start by giving us the timing you've been together, and just give a little short testimonial of where you guys are.
We've been together for 2 years, and at first I didn't have that much contact with his family because we were just first together, and his family visited him and asked him how serious we were, and then he told them. And now I have a good relationship, especially with my mother-in-law. She recently went through breast cancer, and I will call her every week, multiple times a week, to check on her, because she doesn't live in the same city. If she lived in the same city as me, then I probably would have taken her to chemo and everything. But we have a really tight relationship, and I'm thankful for that, because it makes things easier when you do get along with your husband's family, and they accepted me with open arms. So that is a blessing. I do have other issues, but it's more along, my husband has 2 children with his ex-wife. And so his ex-wife, we don't have a bad relationship, but she's kind of, it's weird. It's kind of like a weird dynamic, just to say.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's probably the only issue where we're at right now, because she won't allow him to talk to both of his daughters, only one. So that's the only issue we have as far as from a family standpoint. But everything we go through together as a married couple just makes us stronger, and that's what we stand on. We stand on the word of God. Amen. And we trust God for everything. So
Awesome. Yes, it is a transition when you're coming into a marriage with a man who's incarcerated, for one, and if there are stepkids involved, it kind of, there's kind of a protocol that has to happen, and communication lines have to be made clear. There's a lot of clarity that needs to be made in the situation. And sometimes we fall on the shorter end of the stick of it, depending on the situation. But I always say, as long as he acknowledges you and leave you at that top position and priority, you know, with the kids being first, you understanding his kids are first, and y'all come together with that communication and an arrangement that works for you first, and you know, it'll work. It'll definitely work. We're gonna hear some more stories. There may be another angel wife here today that can give you some more information about it, and also women out there who are dealing with a man who is incarcerated and does have children on the outside of your marriage. Ms. Tameka, we're gonna go with you next.
Hello. So my relationship, we were together prior to incarceration. We were already married. We actually had at the time, I think a 2-year-old son. I think he was 2 at the time. And I was actually 5 months pregnant. And I had just started a new job as a personal trainer back then.
Oh.
So just life in general was already slightly stressful.
Yeah.
For those of you who have children and may have started a new job. So when you first start out as a personal trainer, you don't make as much money because you don't have clients. So
Right.
when he left, and he was the breadwinner of the family. He owned the business. So, and I had no dealings with his business at all. So once he was gone, just like that,
Mm-hmm.
that pretty much, and we just realized the business is still open.
Yeah.
You know, I went through a phase where I was depressed and everything, but thankfully his family has been supportive from day one. You know, I was really going through it. I really hit rock bottom, and my family is not here. My family's in Jersey. So being here, my family's two and a half hours away. My mother-in-law, his cousins, you know, his family, his grandmother really stepped up to help me and really encourage me, pray with me. And you know, though the time of my pregnancy was like a complete blur, I have very few
Right.
memories. I have no pictures on my wall of my second son, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It was just a complete blur for me. But when I had my son, I actually moved in with my mother-in-law and his grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a huge help until I got to the point where I was able to take care of myself a little better. So I stayed there for about maybe 8-9 months. And still, when I got home, it was still rough. But if it wasn't for them, I can't say, you know, I was struggling just to take care of myself. And I couldn't even go to the
Yeah.
grocery store. I didn't have the energy. I couldn't put my children in a car seat. I was that out of it. Like I was
Yeah.
gone. And to have to care for other people, other infants who were helpless, it was a struggle. So it's been an uphill battle, and thank you, Jesus, but I am totally better now. But
Oh, good.
the family dynamic has definitely been a cornerstone for making it through this journey for sure.
Awesome, awesome. And that is a great blessing to be able to have the family to step up and see that, hey, Tameka's husband is suffering. This is our family. She's going through something with him being gone. She has to pick up business. She has to pick up finances. She has to pick up parenting all alone. All of these things are now on her. So it was very wise for his family to look at that and say, hey, we're going to be accountable for his missing in the family, for his place of being from in the home to out the home. We're going to kind of try to take up some of that slack to help and be a part as much as we can. And this is something that every wife wants and prays for, that the family's spouse, the spouse of the family, would step up and be able to come in and say, hey, he's not here, but what do you need me to do? So that you can hold it together, because when you're together, he's together. You know, and then I can go into more about that, but we're going to go more into that a little later. Thank you for sharing that, Ms. Tameka. Ms. Tracey, let's hear from you.
Oh, righty. So I would just listen to all you ladies. That was really encouraging. I appreciate you guys sharing. I was thinking about my experience. My experience with the family, it has been good, I can say. Even from the beginning, my husband kind of tried to push the relationship a little bit, and he kind of tried to do it in his own way, where like I'll be on the phone and then he'll just like having to call somebody and try to kind of, correspond us together like that. But I just kind of took it upon myself to let him know, that these were relationships that I wanted to form myself with this family, so that we'll have a relationship of our own outside of him, because I know that it's a long journey, and so I kind of just did it in that way and took down, as far as immediate family, it was only his mother and brother. So I got numbers and, I just kind of introduced myself in that way and just called and, hey, I'm the new member, and it worked out really well that way. Me and the mom, she was excited to actually meet me. So we kind of set up a date, around a visiting time, and we kind of had like a whole little family gathering. So in that sense, it really worked out for me. I'm so grateful for that. And then I kind of did the same thing with the children, with his 2 daughters. So, yeah, I kind of just took the initiative.
Okay. And you found that process by you taking the initiative. Now, kind of explain a little more about initiative. In what ways were you able to do that? Well,
by not just letting him orchestrate it, or it's just happening when, by chance, I created these moments. So I took time out, I went to the home of the mom. We're really close now, so we talk a lot, or we text back and forth. We're Instagram friends. I mean, so that's pretty much what I mean by the initiative. I didn't wait around, because I want to have these bonds formed already once my husband is home, and we already have a good foundation.
Awesome. And it also shows that it shows him that, hey, I'm in this for the long haul and I'm serious about us and what we have. And thank God that the children's mother was receptive to you doing that, because not all of them are receptive. Ms. Janel was sharing about her situation. She's having some issues with her being receptive, as her stepping in. Yeah. So you were very blessed to have that. And not only that, for the family to just open up and take you in like that. I think that is amazing. And they see your importance. They see your value and they respect you. And you didn't have to force that. And that's a blessing. That's really a blessing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So much. Miss Anquellia, we're going to go with you next.
Okay. Well, my experience with it, Brian, is his mom was his number one person in his life. Brian has kids that are older, and Brian's kids is not, kids live their lives. So it's like, I met one of them and she's real sweet, but kids, once they have other mothers and stuff like that, and they take up on their own way. Me and his mom has a good relationship. She just moved from New Orleans to Baton Rouge down here with me. So we get along together and do things together every now and then and stuff like that. She's older. And so that's his pride and joy. She was number one before I even came in the picture. So I'm not trying to take her place, but you got to move on the race. But his children, they're, kids, they're just living their lives. When we first got married, well, before we got married, he asked his children to come to his wedding. I don't know if he asked all of them, but he asked one of them, and one of them said something negative that she don't do weddings. So, kids, it take time and marriages and stuff outside of their original mom to want to grasp towards somebody new in their lives or whatever like that. So that's whenever he come home, he can, mend those relationships with his kids and let them know what it's going to be. But until then, all I can do is pray for them. Women have their own agendas with their fathers and stuff. You know how that is. So, I'm just dealing with him and his mom for right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really, that's humbling I like what you said about he adores his mom, and I realized that mom was here before me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a real humbling thing to say, because in some situations there's no parent. They haven't been a mom. And in your situation, you have someone that has the mom there, active and involved and concerned. So it's a great thing that you guys were able to, form a relationship to where he not only now has one woman, which is his mother in his life, that he's now been able to gain a wife. And sometimes a man has trouble gaining a wife when mother has been the only woman for so long. It's like a tug of war sometimes. So I think we all can agree to that. Yes.
Yeah. And certain things you realize that mom is gonna always be mom. You got to move out the way to a certain extent and let them. But he got to have an understanding. Like you cleave to your wife after you leave your parents. So
that's right. That's what the Word of God says.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very important. We're gonna talk some more about that in a couple of minutes. We're gonna get. Thank you for sharing that, Ms. Berry. We're gonna get Ms. Glenda's take on family relationship. Ms. Glenda.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi. Okay, so in my situation, it was kind of difficult because everything always had to be at the beginning. It had to be in the hide. People kind of went their separate ways once he was sentenced, and we didn't know what was life gonna be. So on his side, he basically lost everybody. And then on my side, me being independent and me having my daughter, I went through homelessness. I experienced the tragedy of 9/11. We lost my child. Then I had to go back into the shelter system. So I was basically kind of like on my own. So I lost everybody on my side. As the years developed, I gained more maturity, and he was the only one that was there for me. We was friends. We kept on coming back and forth because knowing that you have 18 to life and not knowing the knowledge that I know now, I didn't have much faith back then, I want to say, honestly. So I didn't know what my life was going to be, but he was the only person that I had there. So he was my friend, and he was the only family that we both had to kind of hold on to. As the years went by, currently right now, he has his brother, thanks to me. I was able to get them to speak. I was able to get him to speak to his son. That's a rocky situation because of the child's mother and we don't, see eye to eye. There was always some form of jealousy as into why Glenda's always the one, taking food or being there for you. So that messed up our friendship because we were friends at one time. So currently it's just me, my 5 kids, his son who now is in the picture, and maybe one of his cousins who is in the picture now from a distance. But it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle because it's just basically me and him.
Yeah. And after all those years, to still be there and be present, not just there, but presently there.
Yeah.
That
23 years.
Yeah, that you guys could write a book on a journey just within that.
Yeah. I visited most all facilities up New York State. I've stayed in the town within like right across the street from one of the prisons. I stood there for about a week. I was actually gonna move in one of the towns of Attica Correctional Facility because they was gonna keep him there for like 3 years. So I was gonna move there, but not knowing no one kind of scared me. So I didn't make that move. I was scared. But right now it's just us basically. It's just me, him, and the kids. If he wants to speak to someone, he'll speak to me or his brother, his son, or his daughter. So it's been a long road.
Yes, and when siblings are involved, like my situation, my husband, I'll kind of give you a little backstory on that. And we're going to get Attorney Kaysia early on when I'm done with this. My husband's parents were murdered when he was 4. He was actually present in the home when this happened, him and his brother. His mother only had 2 kids. It was him and, you know, his baby brother. And he had a very, very, very rough childhood. And because of that. And fortunately, he had his grandparents on his mother's side, and also his grandparents on his father's side that was able to pick up the slack from him losing his parents at such a young age, and then to lose his parents in that way, and him to be able to have bits and pieces of memory of that. I think to his adult age here as a man, it kind of affected him in some way mentally, and it's kind of traumatizing still to him in his day. And his idea, though he had his grandparents, he had part of his life, his mother's grandparents raised him for a spell. And then for the rest of the teenage adulthood life, young adulthood life, his grandfather and grandmother on his father's side kind of took the lead and adopted him and raised him, to manhood. His grounding foundation of family, his dynamic, and the route he chose to live, from having that happen to going kind of from family to family and seeing different sides of family react to his parents' murder. It was a lot of uncertainty and fear for him and his brother, a lot of unstable, situations for them that they went through that process. His idea of family is not normal. It's not a normal, I have my mom and my dad. I can call them, I can go to them, I can talk to them, I can write them, I can see them. He doesn't have that, He has his grandparents here, luckily, and we thank God for them, because without them standing in that place, he wouldn't have, been able to succeed as far as he has, but he still has that missing piece of mother and father. So him knowing love and finding love and knowing support and understanding the dynamic of what that is, it's been a troubling journey for him because of that. And not to say that, there's a million people I know that have lost parents or, different things to that nature, but him falling into being incarcerated with a life sentence, it's like he had to learn the dynamic of that all over again because of that. He's had so many become close family, and then he's had some that were close family become distant because he's been incarcerated. So it for him to find stability in love and consistency and support, I think that God allowed me to be in that place for him to see that, what that looks like, what that feels like. Someone to say, I'm here, I love you, I care, I'm there, I'm supporting you, I'm committed to you, I'm not going to change on you. When you come, a lot of these men, they come from backgrounds where they grew up with drugs and violence and kind of catering to that lifestyle and that atmosphere. I'm not going to hide it. My husband did. He was a really good drug dealer, and that's what he loved to do, and that's what he did. So he created his own family from the dynamic of that. So when I talk about family to my husband, I'm not talking about just his grandparents. I'm talking about the guys that he grew up on his hometown corner with. He called them the alley boys. When I talk about family, we're talking about them, the friends he had growing up on his alleyway. He's talking about people he grew up with, grew around, may have known him from doing the lifestyle he was living, partners and kind of female girls. They build their own family through that. And that when I say husband to my family, when he said husband to family to me, we were talking about two different things, because I grew up, well, I was adopted, so I originally did not have my original mother and father either. So I understood that dynamic. So, and God gave me an adopted family. So we kind of grew up creating our own ideas of what family is. So a lot of our ideas about it and what's right, what's wrong, what's normal, what's not, we both came into it with an abnormal circumstance. So we've learned through our marriage how to build what we want family to look like, because both of our examples were so dysfunctional and not normal to people that we knew, that had normal, and I'm fortunate for his grandparents, they're up in age, so they're limited to the things that they can do and the things that they can, in ways they can be there for him, but they do their best because they are elderly. And as me being his wife, I take up that responsibility because he's there. So I take up that responsibility of not only committing myself to him and what he needs, but committing myself to his caretakers, which are his grandparents. So it's a lot, but it's doable. And I think that by me keeping communication between, making sure everybody can communicate, stay in communication, I keep an active phone line open so he's able to call his grandparents whenever he needs to call them. When we call together, he calls, I call. If they need me, I'm there, I go. So we keep that line of communication open when it comes to immediate family, grandparents, parents, and for my husband, it's grandparents. So that's where he is that's where we are in terms of that. These are some very interesting stories, ladies, some very interesting dynamics. Are y'all enjoying it thus far? Good.
Yes.
All right.
I am.
Well, I got a good treat for us. We're gonna take a break because I was about to get into some stuff and I was about to kumbaya and I was about to start crying, which I might do that later because we have a little bit more to share, but that's okay. We got some inspiration in the building. Special guest today, I'm going to introduce her. She is here and she is ready, all pretty in yellow. Can you guys see her? Okay, criminal and civil litigation attorney. She serves in the beautiful state of Florida by the name of Attorney Kaysia Earley. She's also the founder of Arrive Live. I don't know if you guys seen this. It's a big buzz on social media right now. She's the founder of the TRAPS program. If you were wondering who it is, it's Attorney Kaysia Earley. This program, it provides survival tips to pedestrians and anyone who has to encounter police situations, traffic stops, anything. If someone calls the police, you're a bystander, in every way you need to encounter the police, she has survival tips and tools that she's been educating our young people on, young adults on, even our older people on how to handle those things. Very informative. She's also a loving wife and mother, very prominent community activist, and criminal justice reform advocate. So I hope I've introduced her properly. She's coming from the state of Florida. Everybody, let's welcome Attorney Kaysia Earley. How you doing?
I am blessed and highly favored. Let me tell you something. That was a beautiful introduction. You know how you just work, and you don't realize the resume that you're building? So
Yes.
when someone introduces me, because just a few years ago, I felt like I was beneath the earth. I was unvalued until I was saved. So I'm actually glad to be here to have this conversation. I'll jump right in. I'll give you a brief introduction of who I am. But before I even say that, I just want to say, ladies, I was listening to each and every one of your stories, your testimony, and I have the utmost compassion for families of those who are incarcerated, especially during this pandemic. I still have my clients because I practice criminal law. I still have my clients, and honestly, I miss them. I tell my clients, you are not a client to me. I am representing you as if you're my brother, as if you're my father, as if you're someone that if I was in your position, I would want someone to fight for me. So my prayers are to you for your strength, because it is very hard to love from a distance, but God bless you in your future endeavors, and you all will do great. Continue to hold it down from the outside.
Amen.
So just like Precious said, I am Kaysia Earley. I am a criminal defense attorney out of Florida. So the trap cards that she alluded to is basically your basic constitutional rights. So I used to be a public defender, and I realized that my clients, it was one thing for them to be accused of a crime, but it was another thing for them to talk themselves into a conviction. So what I would do is, after I would look at their file, I would start writing down their basic constitutional rights. I didn't even know my constitutional rights until I went to law school. So I started writing them down, and then the Lord gave me this vision to do TRAPS. So it's TRAPS, something that everyone would remember. But if you don't remember, you DM me on Instagram. I'll mail you a free trap card. You put it in your visor. You get pulled over. You pull that bad boy down, and you know your constitutional rights. So I'll briefly go through TRAPS, and then Precious, I'll let you ask me any question that you want. T stands for get tricked. An officer will legally lie to you to obtain incriminating information. So incriminated information. So do not be tricked. R stands for be respectful, and this is mainly to our Black men, because society has positioned us to be a threat simply by the color of. So as much as we say that respect should be given first, let's be respectful. The place to argue is not on the side of the road. Let us attorneys fight for you. TRA stands for you have a right to a free attorney. I used to be a public defender. I know that they call them public pretenders, but there are some good ones out there. Yes. You are in the driver's seat. You make your attorney work for you. P stands for never give permission for anyone to search your house, car, or vehicle, your house, car, or personal belongings. You're supposed to say, I don't consent, not don't search me. When you utilize legal terminology, you will let that officer know that you know your rights. And lastly, S stands for silence is golden. That's, to me, that's the most important one. You don't have to answer any questions other than identify yourself. License and registration, that's all they need to know. They don't need to know any other information. You say, I wish to remain silent until I have an attorney present. And that is the TRAP campaign that Precious was talking about. I finance all of these cards and I pass them out absolutely free. I don't even have a 501c3 yet. But some of the proceeds and profits from my law firm they're diverted to the TRAPS campaign, because my most important is to educate our people to keep them out of this racist system. And yes, I said it.
Yes, yes, and that's what it is. That's what it is. It's a highly racist system. And I tell you what, with all the current events that is going on right now, you guys, Miss Attorney Earley, this is probably the most opportune time to spark this TRAPS program, because a lot of the defense has been, well, lately the defense that I'm hearing with the cases, especially with the Wisconsin case, the shooting, with the young man that was shot in the back 7 times, they have this thing where they want to argue they weren't complying, or they were resisting in some form, or they said this, or, you know, it does not excuse, you know, the end result of what's happening. But, you know, they take that thing, they didn't comply, or they try to make it a reason for the things that they're doing and the decisions that they're making to de-escalate situations. It's like when you get stopped by a police officer now, you're not guaranteed that you're going to get a citation.
Exactly.
And I'm to be honest with you, I have a 21-year-old son and I'm terrified. You know, he lives outside the home and I'm calling to check on him and say, hey, you know, you okay? What's going on? If you're going somewhere, going out of town, please don't forget to call me and let me know. And I'm definitely going to invest in some trap cards for him and have him pass them out to his friends, because it's a serious issue and it's a real issue. And it's very frightening for parents like, you know, like us who have minority sons. You know, we don't know, you know, what the outcome will be if they have to encounter police officers. So I definitely thank you for letting God use you with this program. I believe that the education, seeing it from us, it makes a bigger difference than seeing it from another minority, because we're in it, we understand the experience. And for us to say, hey, we can help you on how to get through this. We can help you on how to, you know, deal with an encounter. You don't have to resort to behavior that is going to put you in a situation where you may not, you know, be protected from.
And Precious, you make that's a good segue for my testimony. My prior incarceration, I bore it from the heart because I've been there. I had a public defender who represented me and I felt like he could have fought a little more. So that's kind of how my compassion to teach people the law came about. And let me tell you how good God is, because I grew up in the inner city. I was the fourth child of 8 kids. So my older siblings, I was the first one to go to college because I knew that education was the way out of the hood, because I didn't inherit any money.
Right.
But when I got to college, that ghetto hood mentality was still there. So I continued to do the things that I did living in the hood, that eventually I got arrested for felony embezzlement. And I went to county jail. Thank God this is the first offense. I didn't go to prison, but I was pregnant. My son, he's 15 years old now. So they took me out of the general population and put me into solitary confinement. And let me tell you something, I was so mad at God, because I could do general population. At least I had somebody to talk to. We could share commissary, okay? But then you gonna pull me out and you put me all alone. But God had a plan for me 15 years ago, because he knew I was gonna be a criminal defense attorney. I never even wanted to be criminal. I wanted to be a real estate attorney because they made the most money, and that's what I want. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just put me in a position, and he changed my life. And I don't care what goes on. This is what I tell my clients, because I also have a ministry where I send them a weekly wisdom to keep them encouraged about the word that I received from church the previous Sunday. I don't care what this world calls you. It only matters what God calls you, and he calls you chosen. Think about it. Your loved one may be incarcerated, but that's the plan of God, because who's to say if they were in the world, they would have died in their sins and then had eternal damnation in hell. See, God knows what's best for us. So my period of incarceration saved me. I always say I'm a Christian first, I'm an attorney second. It saved my marriage, it saved my career, and it saved me as a person. So my passion towards injustice goes beyond the courthouse. But my transformation, I know it could only be God. I know it could only be God. I'm home, but as you can see, those awards right there, that, you know, these are the
I see you flexing there. All that glory. I call that the glory wall. I don't know if you have a name for it, Attorney Earley, but call it the glory wall.
God's glory, you know, because what a thought. I always say I'm a brown chick from the hood who barely knew how to write a sentence because I used to talk like this. I finna go to the store, you know. Who would have thought? And then just 2 months ago, I visited my old neighborhood and I was just overcome with emotion. Because I said, God, you are so good. When you think that he will leave you or forsake you, he's right there.
Right there. Absolutely.
when you feel like you're all alone, when you feel like justice is not served, I heard one of the ladies say wrongly incarcerated. I'm with you on that, because I know there's so many unjustly incarcerated brothers in the system. And I feel sometimes I talk to God and I say, God, I know I have a passion for my clients, and I wish every lawyer was like this. He's still in control.
Yes, he is.
Even when your husband is unjustly incarcerated, or like you said, Precious, when he did his dirt, because we know we got to pay for everything we do before we leave this earth. So whether they're justly or unjustly, God is still on the throne. And I'm going to leave you with this, and then you can ask me whatever else you want to ask me. I was reading Job this morning, particularly Job 38. And you know how Satan's God already tested him, but he said, have you considered my faithful servant Job, right? Yes. And then he lost everything. I mean, you lost your husband. Someone say they lost their housing. But I'm talking about, not only did Job lose his housing, he lost his children, he lost his possessions, and then he lost his health. And he still, thank God. And what happened? Think about the silver lining at the end of the story. He gained everything back twofold. So never lose hope. I don't care if your husband is set free 10, 15 years from now. He's going to be free, a better man, a stronger man. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. But it's our position. When everyone leaves you or forsakes you, you let your husband know that you are praying for him and that you are there for him. That's what's keeping them going.
Right.
Yes. I was incarcerated. I felt ashamed. I didn't tell my family, because everyone looked up to me. So they didn't know I was going to jail. They looked up to me because I was the first one to graduate from college. So I was ashamed to tell them that I had got convicted. But when I got saved, I tell the whole world, because my testimony into God's testimony. So God is so good. I thank God for connect. But if I could leave you all with anything else, just know that God is in control. Okay?
Yes, he is.
So
yes, he is. Oh man,
church today.
Man,
so
is the I don't know if to call it the Angel Wise Project or the church. Not girl. I had some good praise this morning, and I tell you what, God woke me up on fire. I just knew that we were going to have some awesome stuff coming out of us today for the people, for the women, to get them motivated and encouraged and inspired. And Attorney Earley, your testimony is very, 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 very inspirational. And I'm so glad that you took the opportunity to come on, and we are so humbled to have you here with us this afternoon. One of the other ladies, any of the Angel Wives, may have a question for you while you're here. Anyone has a question for Attorney Earley?
Y'all know attorneys talk, so y'all don't have a question. I will talk.
Well, that's good. We love attorneys that talk, because let me tell you something. In Louisiana, it's hard to find attorneys that love to talk to you.
Let me tell you.
But I might start something, so I'm going to leave that be.
Listen, I can't wait till the courthouse reopen. I'm telling you that I feel sorry for the judges. I feel sorry for the jury. I feel sorry for the prosecutors, because I got so much energy balled up. But I thank God.
We need energy.
We need you in Louisiana.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, Anquellia. Let her know, please.
Louisiana, because they act like they scared down here. We need you in Louisiana, baby.
Let me tell you that we have, and you know, I said this on Instagram the other day, and I pray to God they saw my comment. It's a shame how many of people, minority people we have here in Louisiana that are working in high prestige governmental offices, and my husband has never met one, and he's at our state prison. Mm-hmm. They have never even went to visit to see the conditions or what is going on, or try to, you know, do something. There's one city here in Louisiana where there are 2 public defenders, and they're trying up to 4 or more murder cases a month. One. There's no budget to do investigations. There's no budget to form proper defense. And they're just sending them away like eggs in a carton. Life sentences. There you go. Life sentence. There you go.
And moving up the ladder. Moving up the ladder, all of them.
Money's rolling in, they're retiring, buying the grandkids houses, staying in the seat 20 years. Nothing's changing, nothing's moving. So I know that this thing that has happened, I'm not gonna say starting with George Floyd, but I think that the I've had enough started with George Floyd, but the beforehand has sparked the interest, but even now more so, more for our people, our minority people. I'm not just talking about African American, our minority people, our Asians, our Spanish. They have the light on now on what to do about it. Before it was, man, can I say something, or should I protest, or should I? Now there's no state you can go in where there's not a protest, an active protest, not only minority, but with our Caucasian brothers and sisters that now see what we're dealing with and feel the pain that we're going through. There are some genuine people that are with us on this journey, but it's more of a pride to say that more of our minority people are finally stepping up. And we need a change in the court system here in Louisiana so bad. I don't know what it's going to take, but I know that whatever it is, I feel it in my spirit that it started happening.
Yeah.
Something has started happening. And I'm just so grateful for all the advocacy, that's going on. I don't want to keep talking too, because Lord, I love to talk. Any of the other angel wives, and they know it, any of the other angel wives have a question for Attorney Earley? Okay, Tameka.
Thank you, Attorney Earley. That was awesome. I love your energy. So love your spirit.
I have no choice.
You just say?
I have 4 children. I have no choice.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right. So my question is, I know there are a lot of people who are in a situation where they cannot afford a paid attorney, and they have, they're kind of stuck with doing a public defender. Is there anything, because I had a public defender, is there anything that, say, a family member who's utilizing a public defender can do to help the process? Because in my experience, I could not contact the public defender. I felt like my hands were tied behind my back, and I had there was zero way for me to communicate with the public defender. And it felt like everything was just out of my control. And it's like, how do you do that? Even with a paid lawyer, it's hard to contact them. You're at the mercy of them contacting you, which usually does not happen.
When I first graduated from law school, I started off as a public defender. I knew that I eventually wanted to go private, but I knew that my best experience to trying cases would be a public defender. But I only lasted 14 months. So I gave a 2-year commitment, but I quit. I quit for 2 reasons. The first reason I quit was because of the politics inside the public defender's office. I tried the most cases in 14 months. I tried, I think it was 64 cases, the majority of which I won. I had over 200 dismissals. In fact, I hold the record. So I was trying cases. I was fighting for my clients. And my supervisor promoted a white attorney who tried 13 cases to the felony division. When the whole knew that I held the record, it was too much of a slap in my face for you to overlook me. So I quit for that reason, but I also quit because I wanted to blow the whistle on the unethical injustice that was going on, which was the plea bargain will, the lack of funding, the the cases. They had too many cases, each public defender. My caseload, at one point I had 225 cases at a time, right? And I saw so many things that I didn't want my name a part of. So I quit with a day's notice, and the very next day I started Earley Law Firm. But to answer your question, what can you do? Well, number one, you gotta speak through your client. So you kind of gotta tell your client, if your public defender is not getting in contact with you, find out who their supervisor is, because their supervisor is going to breathe down their neck a little bit. They're going to talk about you. Listen, let's get this case off because they keep calling me. But you got to go above to their superior. That's number one. Number two, you have to do the research for your loved one so that when he's talking to his attorney, because one thing the public defenders are infamous for doing, they'll tell you, if they even sniff an attitude, well, you're not my client, I don't have to talk to you, which is right. They don't have to talk to you. So you got to let your loved one know who has that public defender up front. Listen, I'm not taking a plea. When are you setting depositions? They have to stay on them. You understand what I'm saying? Because that public defender is going to put that particular file to the side because they know, okay, I'm going to have to work on this one. But the rest of these clients, they're not bugging me. So I'm not even going to touch it. They typically touch the cases where they constantly get quote unquote harassed because they want to get rid of it. So that means, okay, let me hurry up and set depositions. Let me hurry up and do this. Then they're going to do it. And that is so wrong. Because how dare you take a job knowing that someone's freedom is in your hands for that week or the 2 weeks or however long goes to trial. How dare you not research that case? And even to the private attorneys, how double dare you? Because now you're taking someone's money.
Right.
How dare you?
Oh,
And
yeah.
see, that's why I always say I'm a Christian. I fear the Lord. I fear that if I take your money and I don't work on your case and I die, I'm dying in my sins. And your $2,500 or your $5,000 is not worth my soul in hell. That's what got me locked up. And I promise God, if I ever get locked up, trust and believe, it ain't gonna be for embezzlement. It's gonna be for protest or something like that. When it comes to my, but you know, you have to research your attorneys. That's another thing I say. I find out that some people out here, they don't even Google their attorney's name. They don't even pull up in Florida bar to see what they're about. Or better yet, if you're paying $10,000, do you even ask the attorney how many cases have you tried?
Right.
Or do you because their website is good? I probably could dance circles around any of these gray-haired attorneys any day. Okay?
Louisiana, yes.
Right. Don't judge my book by my cover. I see your red hair, girl. For the blood.
That's right. Yes. That answers your question.
I hope I answered.
Yeah, and you're so right. I'm actually going through that right now with one of the clients that we have with Incarceration Speaks, legal networking and advocacy too for people. So one of my clients, he's actually a young man. He was picked up as a juvenile, charged as a juvenile, and he's been sitting now for 5 years in a county jail. He has went through, hear this, 5 public defenders. And they are finally taking him to trial in November.
Crazy.
And the judge ordered a speedy trial just for the fact to get him sitting out of the county jail to plead or into something. There's been no formal investigation, no formal pretrial, no formal. They're actually going to do the pretrial and then the trial 2 weeks after. It's like I
fault the attorneys. First of all, I don't play on cases. I'm speedy trial. The moment your arraignment, and this is the formula every attorney should follow. The moment you have your arraignment, I'm booking a deposition. By the time we have calendar call or pretrial hearing, I'm announcing ready for trial, because between arraignment and pretrial, I've thoroughly investigated your case. And especially if you're in custody, that's the fast track, people, because I know you. They just sit there and letting them ride. That's what bothers me.
Yeah, the same thing happened to my husband. He sat for 5 years.
A long time.
Kept bringing his DNA to be retested, kept coming back. Not him, not him, not him, not him.
I fought the attorney because all he had to do was file in for speedy. If that's the only thing that was lingering, and I guarantee that would have been reasonable.
Kept letting him sit, brought him to, said, oh, hey, you're going to trial. A day and a half for trial. Okay, we sentenced you to life plus 15 years. Wasn't even his gun. What? Yeah.
Did you appeal it? I'm curious.
Oh yeah, we are actually in a post-conviction phase right now.
How do you do a day and a half of trial? Even my DUI cases, which is a misdemeanor, is a day and a half. You see what I'm saying?
A day and a half.
Were done, were not done, and his constitutional rights were violated on several issues.
Sounds like it.
I don't know. When I talk about the law, it does something to me. I'm a very nice person, I believe. But when it comes to the law, it's like when I walk through the threshold of that courthouse, I turn into somebody else. I thought comes
That's
over
right.
because I'm like, first of all, I'm honored that God gave me a second chance. That's the
Yes.
first. Because who
Yes.
goes from
Mm-hmm.
being incarcerated, just like Isaac Wright for life? Like he's like, that story is incredible. But I'm like, God thought of me, little old me with a record who could barely write a sentence because I plagiarized all my life growing up in the hood.
Yeah.
You know, that if he could think that of me, he can think that of you, and he still. Then
Everything.
I always pray for my clients who are incarcerated. When we pray at night with my family, continue. I know you all pray, but pray continuously. Your spouse are safe. They're safe because of your prayers. Do not become weary in your well-doing. They're safe because of your prayers. I had a cousin who passed away 2 years ago while he was incarcerated, serving a life sentence that he maintained his innocence. And his son was able to be incarcerated with him the last 3 months of his life. And now I'm speaking to him. I'm not barred in the state of Maryland, but I'm trying to get his case appealed because I think some things are wrong in his case. But never lose hope, never lose faith, never, ever. So utilize my story to inspire you that anything is possible. And we serve a God who can do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ever ask or think of.
Yes. 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 Yes.
I want to say something.
Yes.
Okay. We hear you, Glenda.
Okay. It's funny that I'm listening to her and I'm getting chills because I am in the same situation as she was saying just now. I'm actually in school right now to become a lawyer, but I'm starting off little steps at a time. Mm-hmm. I'm doing a civil litigation class right now online, added with my high school diploma because I already have a high school diploma and a medical field as well, but it's in Florida and they don't want to accept it down here in New York. So I'm literally starting all over again. Uh-huh. But I advocate for a lot of different inmates, different situations. And I just got this case 2 days ago for post-conviction. He's doing a 440 motion. Now, the attorney that he had at the beginning of his sentence, just literally disappeared and told him, they gave him a plea, 25 flat, meaning you have a date to come home. Told him it's the same thing as getting 25 to life. And I said to the girl, that's not the same thing because 25 to life, and I mean, I'm from the hood. I grew up in the Bronx. 25 to life means that you have to do 25 to life and then you have to do parole. Like you have to, do the parole hearing. And that's if they give you parole. 25, regular is you have a date to come home. So how can a lawyer that you're paying $20-something thousand tell you that it's the same thing? I know this.
You know why? Because it was never challenged at the plea colloquy. Plea colloquy is when you finally stand before the judge and you're formally sentenced. And the judge asks you, did the judge promise you anything? If you said no, then that promise gets thrown out. But you have to order, what I would recommend is that you order the transcript of the plea, of the back and forth, and go to an appeal to see if the plea was knowingly and intelligently taken. Because and that's what I did that's what I'm doing for my cousin. He was 15 years old, charged as an adult. And when I read the transcript, it said, are you under the influence of medication? He said, yes. Okay. So how do we know that medication didn't mess with his thinking? So you have to take responsibility for ourselves. Don't throw it on that lawyer. You paid him the $20,000. So
that's what I said. Yep.
I work for my clients. You're paying me your money. Now, I have perfect clients because sometimes they like to try me because I'm a female and I'm Black, and I feel like I wouldn't be treated the same way if I was a white male. But just know that you are allowed to ask questions. Don't get orally, it's in writing. So if you sign his plea, you got to look at the disposition. There's so many things that you have to do, but I'm pretty sure Precious will share my contact information. You all, I have 2 Instagram pages. My first and last name, Kaysia Earley. That's where I put all of my still motivational messages that the Spirit of the Lord gives me to put down on that day. And then my Early Law Firm is where you can get all of your legal rights and electronic. You can DM me on either one. I'll send it to you if you send me your address. But I know that there's a time and place for everything. So yes, I'm a Christian. I'm utilizing that platform. But there's some times that I will put the Word of God on my Early Law Firm page. And if you're offended, you can unfollow me. Okay. I mean, what does the Bible say? That if we deny him, he'll deny us in heaven.
But you,
No one keeps the blood flowing through your veins. So why do you care? Don't wait till you're 85 not to care.
Right.
and you know,
Father says about.
yes, and I think the first thing when I met all the angel wives, the first thing I always say is that I feel like justice is God's character. And when you're handling things within the lines of advocacy or whatever you're doing, handle it in a way that God, like you're handling his people, his work. The justice work is God's work. And we have to be humble in doing it. We have to be loving in doing it. We have to be, wise and fair and compassionate and long suffering. All those things that God is, I feel that we should bring that in the lane of fighting for justice. And there's so many people who are working in this field and advocating in this field that lack those characters. It's more for them a position of power than a position of inspiring. And it's the reason why we have so many wrongful convictions, so many people that are waiting for clemency and parole meds and second chances, because there's no empathy, no God, no fear of God in the justice system. And I think that the more people that come along and come on board with the new attitude of fairness and the new attitude of knowing that this is God's work, then we're going to start seeing some change and some turnaround. And let me tell you something. These women who you're meeting today, Attorney Earley, I mean, strong and passionate and good-spirited and just ready to help, ready to inspire. And this is what we're trying to build, an atmosphere of this, because there's so much negative light on when you tell a person, my husband's incarcerated, or I'm married to a man and he's in prison, or my husband just came home from prison. We went through this storm. There's so much negativity and so much misinformation onto what we're doing. So the purpose of this today is to show women that you don't have to be bound or feel alone or feel ashamed or feel discouraged about being married to someone that's incarcerated or doing something in a justice field. It should be no shame of that, because this is God's work.
Yes.
And it carries a compassionate heart and a love for people, and I love people. And I don't think, I work in the medical field, so I double love people, because I look at healing as God's work.
Yes.
And I look at justice in the same way. And I look at, Lord, I wake up every morning to serve. Whatever I can do to help my sister, or help with someone's legal situation, or, help find an attorney that can maybe navigate them to something good, or, send people a favor in my way so I can help others with that favor you're sending me. I don't need the glory, because I can't wake me up every morning. But through your breath and through your life, you can use me to do these things. That's your will. And that's all every woman on this panel wants. And this is why God has brought us together. And I'm just so blessed and so fortunate, to be able to be in this season and in this time. And every day God is unfolding to me, why now? And as the why now is some of the biggest questions I've had in my life. And to see it unfold in this way is very humbling, very humbling. I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry. Anybody have another question for Attorney Earley?
I actually do have a question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you would know, because I am in California. I'm in San Diego. But my husband, because they passed a law in California saying that the part of your brain that controls like your impulses, if you're under 25, it's not, if you're 25 or under when you're convicted, it's that part of your brain isn't fully developed. So he might be eligible for early parole, but I just wanted to know if you knew like any information about that, because I'm not exactly sure how it works or anything.
Okay, although that's a good question, I forgot to leave with a disclaimer that I'm licensed and barred in the state of Florida, and the information that I'm giving, information and not legal advice. But with that said, I can give you a general response because essentially a law was passed and you want to know what can happen to affect him retroactively, hopefully maybe early term. I would definitely advise you, or inform you rather, to do some research about a potential appeal attorney, to see if they can look at, but not only that, look at other points to see if he has a good chance of appealing his case. But I wouldn't be able to know specifically, but if you take anything away from this conversation, thoroughly vet your attorney that you're going to hire, whether it's background information. And vetting an attorney doesn't mean that you have to ask questions to the point where you don't trust them, because I get turned off by that. So if your vet means research me before you call me. But when you call me and you have an attitude, I'm like, oh, excuse me, you know, I don't want you to pay me yet. Vetting means, you know, ask around about them, but definitely do your research before you hire an attorney. But that could be a great basis for a possible appeal. So I wish you all the best. You're in my prayers.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, yes, yes. So we really enjoyed our time with you today, Attorney Earley. And if you don't mind, we're definitely going to ask you back on for another session.
I will definitely make myself available. I truly enjoyed myself with you ladies. Feel free to hit me in a DM and let's stay in contact. And you all will be part of my prayers tonight when we pray together as a family.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. God bless. And
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful, wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
I'm going to have your contact given out to all the Angel Wives, and the Angel Wives are going to make sure they're following and sharing your information. We're going to get it out there. TRAPS program too, we're going to get it out there. Very important information. So thank you so much, Attorney Earley. You have a blessed afternoon.
Bye. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Bye.
God bless. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So this was, man, y'all, how are you ladies feeling? Y'all feeling good?
Yes.
Yes.
What's going on, Miss Tracey?
Emotion. I'm a ball of emotion over here, girl. Oh my God.
It's
I was
okay.
just boo-hooing. I had to get off for a minute. I'm like, oh Lord.
You know, I'm gonna show my towel. While I was holding it back, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was holding it back. You know, we are this is a season for us, you guys. And I think that the more that through us doing this and showing women that we can stand, we can make this work. You know, I really feel like they are going to really be able to catch hold on this era that we're in right now. Because some wives are having a hard time advocating. Some wives are having a hard time working with the families. Some wives are having a hard time dealing with the concept of him having children and dealing with, you know, some wives are struggling with this. So to be able to come and share, you know, these things to the table, it's very, very, very important. What I want to talk about now is in what ways we each going to go. And Ms. Tracey, we're going to start with you. In what ways do you encourage his family to help support him?
Good question. Well, what I try to do most is just, I try to kind of bridge the gap. So, like when he calls, I always try my best to maybe reach out to another, which is usually his brother or his mom, or, you know, to just kind of be the middle ground. I mean, however I can be used, I'm just willing, to just however. Sometimes I don't even know. I don't even have the answers. All of this is like so new to me, and so I'm just, like you said, I just try to keep God first, and I pray a lot, and I just kind of let Him lead me, and and I just keep a open heart and a humble heart.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's pretty much all I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And from the feel that I get and we get is that, you're on such a genuine side of it all. And when you come into it with a genuine and humble attitude, it makes it so much easier for them to say, okay, we can trust her. We know that she has his best interests in heart, and we know that she's going to love him in the right way, and
Right,
it's,
'cause
yeah.
it wasn't always easy. I mean, of course, because well, his mom and I are like 7 years age difference. So
Okay, so she's a young mom.
yeah. So we kind of had that. It's like, okay, we're who are you? And I'm like, well, you his mom, but like you're only 7 years older than me, so we kind of went through a little tug of war with that. But once I think my husband let her know where I stood and how he felt about me, I mean, he positioned me. And once he did that and let them know that, they couldn't do nothing but respect it. So I think they kind of were like, okay, let me see if she is really this person that he thinks she is, or because before me there was someone else, right?
Yeah.
And she's not here anymore. So, I mean, of course they kind of had that. They wasn't sure about me. I mean, which I totally understand, right? Because when I first started, I wasn't sure, and this was all new for me. The only thing I was sure of is that I loved him, and I didn't really know where it was going to guide me, lead me. I was just like, I mean, it was just me and him.
Yeah.
And so.
Awesome. So, hearing it from Miss Tracey, her and her spouse has been together for 2 years. So this is new for her. So I like the point you made by it's new to me too. So it's like you both are learning how to build that family bond between the families together during this process. And I think every wife on here can agree when, which we said we were going to talk about this, and this is a good time. When you initially join into a relationship with an incarcerated man, you go through an initiation process with the family. Have all of you women, can you agree to that being true? I know I went through, and I'm not saying initiation like a hard initiation, but you go through that period of, let me see who she is, what she's about. Let me see if I'm going to like her, or, I think we all go through some form of that, and I think that the more the more the family is involved, the more of initiation you're going to get. Now, if the family is not so, close and not so worried about it, and, oh, well, he got a woman, thank God, they're not going to be, kind of worried, but they're going to be happy for him, and I see you when you come home. But then you have those that's my baby, and that was my boy, and that was my homeboy, and that was like a brother to me, and that was this and that and that and that and that. Though he may not even speak to him since he's been behind bars, but because you say, you his woman, you his wife, and you, they worried about the man, and not the case. And that's what I like to tell a lot of people that's out there that come from backgrounds where a person from a neighborhood well-known may be incarcerated, or just somebody that the family may know really well of, and you're not really involved with the situation, but you're really involved with the personal life. Kind of try to give that a balance, because we need help. We need advocacy. it's important to worry about his personal life because you want him to be happy and know that he's okay. But you also want to be involved and help the person that is helping him, because if it's to make it better, then you should be more for it and not against it. But a lot of our situations come from them trying to place us and not knowing where to place us because they won't really get to know us, but they really, you know, they want to be involved, aware, but not involved. And that's a hard position as wives to be in when you're with a family that does that. So, and I'm kind of speaking from my experience too. I've been in situations where I've been around, you know, family, blood and not blood, that they're more aware than involved. And it's a, you know, it's already a lot of responsibility. So when you have to stop and deal with people who are more aware than involved, it kind of is like, okay, but what we gonna do? We need a lawyer. What we gonna do? You know, you want them to know that involvement is what's gonna bring him home. If he comes home with a wife, that's a bonus, not a burden on you. It's a bonus for him, you know. So that is some of the things that I have learned when it comes to that. Now, well, I'm gonna ask a few more questions out here. Miss Anquellia, what are the ways that you encourage your husband's family to advocate for him?
Well, like I say, it's just me and his mom, so I have no contact with his daughters or anything like that. So it's just us. So it's me, her, and God. That's family right there for me.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't speak on that. You know.
Okay, I understand that. And you know, through time and through prayer, those things could change.
Yeah. Once they be willing to receptive to it, but you know, when people have their mind made up and their heart is not totally in the area of thinking about the positive in the matter, you know, you can't make that happen. Only God can touch a person's heart and change their mind in situations like that. So I just, you know, in due season when he come home, and I pray that they have a humble attitude towards the situation, knowing that, I mean, your daddy actually went there being innocent and that it wasn't his fault. So you have to be forgiving towards the situation. But see, the system they don't care. They don't care what they do to a family. And see, this is the main reason the family is so out of proportion, because
there you go.
The system messed it up. So kids go do their thing, you know, and all they know is they daddy incarcerated. They daddy can't do nothing for them, and they daddy, you know, and they don't look back to see, you know, what daddy might need help, or daddy might, you know, want to see his children and stuff like that. But that's what the system do. So they separate families, and when he reach out to them, you know, they don't come. So when he come home, we just been praying that God will bring the family back together. So
yes,
that's what it is.
Yes, and sometimes we're lucky enough to be able to start bridging those things. Yeah. And then sometimes we struggle with getting everybody on board. And I guess I've kind of been on both sides of it. Some I feel like I've kind of, you know, gained some, you know, countenance with. And some I'm probably never going to gain countenance with. Well, I'm not going to use the word never, but I don't see it as being now. And like you said, the way the system is set up, it's set up to separate families. So it promotes dysfunction, strife, and, you know, and when you say, well, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to be there for this person, and they probably have not been doing that, but they feel like, well, I'm not going to let him make a family with you because I'm his family. You know, it's different emotions that people get, you know, when it comes to who's going to support someone that's incarcerated. Everybody, to me, it stems off the past relationship. What's the need? Sometimes people feel like it's too much. It's too much to get an attorney. It takes too much money. It takes too much time. It takes too much effort. So they feel that, well, I can't involve myself with that, but I'm going to involve myself in who the attorney is, if that's a good enough attorney, and I'm going to have something to say if they don't do this right or that right. I'm going to be the spectator of it. I'm not going to do the work, but I'm a spectator. So as wives, we have all these different people around that put this stipulation on us. We have those that are going to participate. We have those that are going to advocate, and we have those that are going to just spectate, and those that are just going to promote negativity and discord. So we have to be able to stand between all these different types of people that we're around, from family to friends, and we all have them, you know. But we want to talk about some more ways, you know, we can advocate for them. And Ms. Tameka, your husband is just coming home. Thank you, Lord. The process for him, when it came to him having an attorney, if you guys did or did not, how was the family involvement through that process?
How was the family involvement? Are you referring to my husband's family?
Yes, yes.
It's hard to say because honestly, mentally, I was like not there. I'll be straight. Like, but no, I don't think anyone was trying to get a lawyer.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't recall. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't, because if there was, like, nobody approached me about it.
Yeah.
Given as though I'm his wife, I would be the first person to know.
Yeah.
But I think part of it too, this was not his first incarceration.
Okay.
So I'm assuming, and I was not in his life prior. So maybe during the first incarceration, you know, they did get a lawyer. They've been through this. They've been down this block before, you know? So, you know, I was new to all this, and I can't say, I don't, you know what? I mean, because I know I wasn't putting out $10,000 because that would have just, I wouldn't have been able to take care of my family. And from my perspective, I had to put the children first. And mentally, I was struggling.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get out of bed in the morning. That was it. That was my goal for the day. Let's get out of bed.
Yeah.
So, and it's hard to speak for them. They're not here to speak what they did do, if they did do anything, but I honestly don't think there was any effort to get a lawyer.
Yeah.
And it could be just, I'm speculating. Like, again, I don't want to speak for other people, but this is not his first time, so.
Yeah. And that's okay, because sometimes, you know, and you made an interesting point. You know, that's why I asked the question, because sometimes if your spouse has had a history of incarceration, and when we come into their lives and we're not knowing, you know, much of the background of what happened and or how many times and what, you know, it had to take for them to come home that, again, before or prior, you know, maybe they were involved at some point, and then we come, the good right wife, and sometimes we're in a situation where we feel alone, but it's because some of them, they're burnt out, or they felt disappointed or let down because they did go back. So we have to take into considerations all of these things, you know, when it comes to the new wife, the right wife, the helping lawyer wife, want to help them get out wife. And then we get all this feedback and say, well, I'm the good wife, I'm the right wife, I'm going to help him, and you're going to get a lawyer, and you're going to come home, and we're going to all yada, yada, kumadwe. And they're looking at you like, yeah, right. I think he loves his ex anyway. He don't want you know how. You know, girl, I done had it all happen to me. It makes you feel like you're not thinking about the process of why you're being treated that way or looked at that way or respected that way, if respected at all. you know. So you made a very good point. You know, it may have something to do with the past history. You know, we have to take those things into consideration. Very good point, Ms. Tameka.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Mhm.
Ms. Janel, what about your process with your husband? How did it go as far as advocating? Are you getting help with the family, or where are you guys with that?
They don't help us that much, but I make sure, because his mom doesn't know how to use, in California, to call, it's GTL. So you have to set up a prepaid account and keep money on your phone for them to call you. I keep money on his mom's phone and on his oldest daughter's phone so he can call them every week. So that's what I do to make sure that they communicate with each other. But when I started being with my husband, no one visited him. I was the only one that visited him. His mom and his brother visited him, but only like once. Like since we've been together, they visited him twice. So basically like once a year. And they don't live that, I mean, they don't live in San Diego, but they probably live like an hour and a half away. So I think sometimes it gets to a point where like even your family, sometimes they kind of, or at least the incarcerated person might feel like they forget about them because they don't make as much of an effort. And some families feel like, oh, well, he has a woman now, he doesn't need me to visit him.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's how my grandma, because my cousin was in prison too. He just got out 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. And my grandma was like, well, if he gets married, then he'll be good. Like, if he gets married, then I won't have to go because his wife will go. But what they don't realize is that, okay, I'm his wife, but I'm not his mother.
Right.
He still wants to see other people in his family. Just because he has a wife now, that doesn't mean, you know, oh, okay, he's okay. Like, that doesn't mean he doesn't want to see you too. But we do have a good relationship, me and his mom, and I have a good relationship with his brother too. But now I understand more because his mom is sick and she just had a mastectomy probably a month and a half ago. And she's older and she doesn't want to drive that far. So I did tell her when visits are back and everything that I'm willing to go get her and take her with me to visit so that they can see each other more, because he does want to see her too. He doesn't just want to see me, like
Right.
so it's like,
Yeah, especially if they're able to go, if they're able to visit, if our husband's families, you know, if they're able to go and be a part and visit, you know, that is something they look forward to. You know, you know, it's kind of hard, you know, getting, you know, people to go and visit, especially if they're incarcerated, you know, so far away, you know. And you're right, they look at it, well, the wife is going, you know, I know how he's doing, he's fine. And then, you know, it is different things, you know, as far as visiting. But ultimately, I know my husband, he would love for everybody he ever knew before he got incarcerated to go and see him. Girl, you know,
yeah,
he's been gone 12 years and he still asks for everybody name by name. What they doing, where they at, what's going on, will they come see me, can they come see me, haven't heard from them in a while, what's their number, baby, get their number, I need to call them and talk to them, baby, I need to see what's going on, how is this. I mean, name by name by name by name. They never forget. And in my husband's situation, street family was a part of his family too. So his list is long, and he, you know, and sometimes it breaks my heart because the level of respect and prestige he holds so many people to, you know.
I know.
It's not
yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
It's not
And the
fair.
same thing, the same
It's
thing
not
with my
fair.
husband has had, you know, he's like, oh, that's my boy, that's my friend. And like, he's been in there 12 years and none of his friends have visited him or But it's just like if they do things that they're not supposed to do, like if they get a cell phone, they'll talk to them on the cell phone, but they're not about to drive, or they're not about to set up a prepaid account so that they can really see how they're doing. But if they have a cell phone illegally, they'll sit there and talk to them.
All
or they'll
night,
be like,
all
oh,
day.
I miss you so much, homie, and all kind of stuff. I can't wait till you get out.
And get
my
mad if
husband,
they say they want to call their wife.
yeah, my husband is to the point where he's changed a lot because God has changed him. And he's like, when I get home, baby, I'm not going to be chilling with all these people. I'm not going to hang out with them because I'm not the same person that I was when I did what I did to get locked up, because my husband was a drug dealer. My husband was a drug dealer and he shot at somebody. And that is why he's incarcerated. And he did it and he's serving his time. I don't think he should have got as much time as he got, because his original sentence was 27 years and 8 months. Even though he did have a prior, that was not the first time he went to prison. But I still think that Black men get scrutinized way harder than other races.
Yes.
And it's very true.
They do.
So.
They do. And Miss Glenda, her husband is, they're a minority too, and it's her situation is like yours. Her husband knows of his guilt towards his crime, and she's about to share. And he has had a long journey with her husband and the family. So she, she's gonna tell us a lot about that. One of the things that I want to say is too that, God always give you a faithful few, in the process. And even though my husband has this long list, or any one of you guys' husband, there's always a faithful few that will, if I call, I know I'm on hand. If I call, I don't have to worry. They're going to send something. If I call and say, hey, my husband wants to talk to you, they're going to pick up the other line. It's a small few, but it's a faithful few that God always send, and he always send in season. And that's been our experience, So Ms. Janel, thank you for sharing that. I love the concept of them having a trap phone in prison. My husband has had a few. It's low on phone calls. I mean, you can talk all day, all night. It's good, but the consequences are so bad, and the money to pay for them is so high, it's not worth it.
No.
At the end of the day, just pay for your 15 minutes and just, how me and my husband say that, we on retroactive time, meaning call back.
Because especially too in California, we have family visits. So they made it where if you get caught with the phone, they take your family visits for a year. The first time, then the second time is 3 years, then the third time is 5 years. So it's like, it's not worth it.
It's not. It's a blessing to have now, but like you say, the consequences are so bad. And I the only thing I would wish, and I know that they're going to listen or they're watching, is that more of them would put on a line, like a personal line for him to call them. I think we all at some point wish that some more of the family members, especially the ones they consistently ask about and worry about, I wish that they would be able to make that sacrifice of putting a call, at least a call a week.
Yeah.
A call a week here is $3, and our calls are $3.21 for 15 minutes. A call a week, that's $12 a month.
Yeah.
But that, I'm glad we're talking about it, because people need to know how we feel. We want you to open a line so they can call. We want you to be involved and be engaged. So yes, wives are here, but we need, like you said, take a whole village to raise a child. It take the whole village to get them home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amen.
Right, Ms. Glenda?
Who you telling?
Yeah.
Let me say this. Here, for example, we use JPay. We use JPay for video, sending videos only. We can't receive emails. and pictures we could send, we can't receive, obviously, from the inmates. And for 30 minutes, it's $1.43. And for 30 minutes, he has to put his ID on the desk. And in those 30 minutes, it's like I'm ransacking in my mind, okay, who are we gonna call today? Let me see if this person will pick up the phone. I know that they're not gonna pick up the phone. I know that they can care less about Scar calling them today. I've texted them, I've Facebooked them, I have Instagrammed them, I have mailed them letters, I have done everything. I know they're not gonna answer. But to give him that, okay, you know, let me just try to call this person, or let me call this person, or let me just try to do this, I let him do it. And in my mind, I'm saying to myself, little do you know, I haven't spoken to that person for over 10, 12, 13 years. You've been down since 1999. Your daughter is 21, 22 years old. Your son is 22, 23 years old. We just got your son to speak to us a couple of days ago, like not even a month ago. So I just do it. With my kids, I went through my own issues with my kids from getting locked up. And there was about 3 years where I kind of just literally fell off the map. When it came to phone calls, I couldn't afford phone calls. But that letter once a month to let him know that I was alive, used to go out. Used to write letters to him stating, hey, I'm okay. I'm in New York. Somehow, somewhere, he used to always find out where I was at. I'm in New York, or I'm in Florida, or my legal guardian died and I'm responsible to bury this person. I have no funds for it. I can't, you know, provide you with a phone call. I have lost contact of everybody. My other daughter is locked up. It hasn't been an easy road. I mean, I have 5 kids and they all have the same father. So that man has come in and out, but my husband has been the one that has been my children's role model. And it's been difficult because when my first husband passed away, I took my first husband to see my current husband. And this was in October of 2006. And my husband died. We took him November 1st of 2006. My first husband died November 16th. We were sitting in this facility and my ex-husband, my rest in peace, told my current husband, throughout the years that, you know, you've been in the family or in the friendship, you know, she's always been there for you. I'm dying. I'm going to die soon. I'm going to die in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And I would say, don't say that. But we knew he was going to die. He said, there's one thing that I want you to get. And there's one thing only that I want you to get. And it's my rings when I died. So when my first husband died, I was able to get him, my current husband, to come to visit in the funeral home. They let him come. And that's when his family showed up. And I said to myself, where all these people came from? Now, I grew up with these people. These people used to get phone calls from me when I was homeless. These people put me out in the middle of the winter with my daughter. These people had people jump me in the middle of the streets with my kids, guns to my head, cars to my, and I used to always write a letter to the inmate, my husband now, and tell him what his family used to put me through. But when my first husband passed away, they had the audacity to come and want to claim that seat. Oh, I'm going to send you packages. I'm going to send you packages. It's been 16 years that my first husband passed away. Asked him the other day, have you ever gotten a letter from anyone that you saw at that funeral home? He said, absolutely not.
Wow.
I said to him, well, I got a box here just yesterday from your son. Your son sent me a box full of food for me to send to you. And he was like, oh, really? I said, yeah, it's there so that I can send it to you when I send you the packages. His son just came in the picture, I want to say about maybe a month ago. And I call him every day, or he'll call me and he'll ask me how Pops is doing, or, you know, if I need help with anything. I'm the only one that puts money in the phone. So I do the calls for him. And so he said, look, I'm going to send you some money to put money in the phone. I said, you know what? You calling or you texting me, asking me for your dad is more than enough. I got this. If you want to do it, feel free to do it. Here's the website. Whenever you want to do it, feel free. Mm-hmm. His brother will call me once a week or twice a week.
And, you know, he'd be like, hey, do you need anything for the kids? You know, does he need anything? And I'm like, look, you know his DIN number, just throw him a couple of bucks. I know what every item in that facility costs, from the rice to the adobo to the pepper jack to it was a list. I call it the EBT for inmates. I said, if this is one program that I can do, I swear to God, I will do it for you. Because I know every menu he does, which it sounds nasty sometimes, to every item that he uses. So every month I make sure that after my bills is paid, even if I have to scrape a little bit here and there, is there so that he could get it. And not only does he deal with his family not being there, only being me there, is that I have 5 kids that I take care of. I have 4 grandkids that I take care of. I have an education that I pay for by myself. Yeah. And he tells me, don't buy me the blankets, because his blankets, he has OCD. And so his blankets got messed up with some fish. And he's like, oh my God, these States blankets are nasty. I said, so what color do you like? He already knows. When I say what colors do you like, that means that I'm already on Amazon. And he's like, well, I don't like to have the red because it's labeled as this. I don't like to have yellow, so get me purple. And I said, purple? And he's like, that's a low color. So I'm like, okay. So the blankets already ordered. They come in tomorrow. And then he just got into a class for the deaf and the hearing. They give you the class, but they don't give you the books. So how he's supposed to pass if you're not going to give him the books to study? Who's buying him the books? I am. The books are not cheap. I'm in school for law myself, so I'm also paying for my own law degree out of my pocket. I'm legally disabled. I have an SSI check, but I make sure that he has what he needs. You know why? Because like I told him, when you come home, that list of accomplishments is going to pay me for everything that I did for you, which that means that you're going to go and be the man that I expect you to be. Yeah. The only way you will sit behind bars again to do another 23 years, and I know you won't with God in the way, is to defend yourself and your family. Yes. You won't be running the streets. And he says, me run the streets didn't have me. We come from the Bronx. We know what it is to be in gang. We know what it is to sell drugs. We know what it is to survive on the streets. I survived the streets, not a scar and not a felony. He was my example. And I told him the other day, I wonder where you would be if you wasn't incarcerated. I don't say I'm glad you're incarcerated, because I mean, who would want to be glad you're incarcerated, but you were saved? He's like, how? Look at everybody around us. Your best friend, deceased. Everyone around us is deceased. Everyone we grew up was deceased. The only one that's alive of the group that was in that corner of the block, like we say at 3 a.m, is you and I. We're the only ones alive. Out of 25 people, we're the only 2 alive. And he's like, you know what? It makes sense. I said, and if you look at your call logs and if you look at your visits, no one has ever seen him incarcerated. No one has been there to see him. Not his brother, not his son. You know, they were minors, so they would go with the mom. She would take them. But when she would take them to see him, it was to sabotage Glenda. If you don't stop talking to Glenda, I'm not bringing your kids. And you know what he told her? Don't bring the kids then. When they hit 18, they'll come out and reach out to me, because you know what? At the end of the day, Glenda's been there through thick and thin. Sheltered, homeless, hungry, and abused. Glenda's been there. So it's, today I say to myself, when he comes home, I'm not knocking nobody's door. Hey, y'all want to come see Scar? Hey, y'all want to come for eat a plate of food? No, because y'all didn't do it to us when we needed it. We both struggle. And that's how we're doing it now. And that's how we're going to continue to do it. The kids are different because they're kids. We don't hold nothing against the kids. Right. But the adults, the same people we fed back then.
Yeah. And you know, it's a very unfortunate situation that we have to build that defense. But sometimes as wives, knowing that they're going through, see, when a man is incarcerated and he has so many close family that he cares for and he's not seeing, or that he's not seeing, it weighs down on him mentally. You know, we have to listen to them, their tears. We have to listen to their grievances. We have to listen and go through their phases where they're getting in trouble
Insecurities.
because they're aggravated and, you know, they're going on these lockdowns. And we have to be there through that process of them, you know, feeling alone and feeling isolated, you know, and they don't realize that the more non-involvement that they care to, you know, choose to have, that has an effect on them. You know, it has effect on their mental space. It sometimes it operates their whole day. If they can just sit down and think about all the people they haven't seen and haven't talked to, you know, it just really mentally weighs on them at times. And we have to be strong enough to uphold and give him them encouraging words and, you know, say, hey, it's going to be okay. You know, I'm here, babe. And they may be going through something. You know, in my case, when my husband goes through his spell mentally from missing loved ones, you know, I have to remind him of how far he's come. I have to remind him on how, you know, they may be going through things in their lives with their families. And, you know, I have to kind of be, not give excuses for them, but kind to make him feel back to some sense of normalcy. And, you know, you don't want him to feed off and linger on that mentality that I'm unloved and nobody cares about me. And I'm all alone in this situation because I don't do this or because this person have not come to see me, or I'm picking up the phone to call them and they're not answering the phone. I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes when my husband would tell me that, I would get so angry. Sometimes it angers you because you know you'll see them on social media. You see them on social media. You'll see them on Facebook. You'll see them, you know, trending.
Or you know what is crazy?
Calling, and they're just not picking up the phone.
Or what I experienced was them down talking. Oh, well, she's receiving this service, and she's receiving that service, and this service she's getting. And I had to sit here one time and sit someone in their place and say, you know what? You're right. I do receive services. I'm a single mother. I am legally disabled because I was traumatized with the 9/11 experience. I was kidnapped when I was a child. I was held hostage. So yes, I do get services. So how do you think that I take care of your loved one? How you think he's been doing a 23-year bid with you're not helping him? You know what I'm saying? But you sitting here trying to go on social media talking crap about Glenda or you know, telling other people, oh, well, Glenda, you know, does this or Glenda does that. Glenda's been the one that's been holding this man down for 23 years. So that's why just recently we have exposed who we really are, because everyone always used to see us as, oh, they best friends, because I was embarrassed or because the family would talk about on my back, you know, my history in the past. But you know what? I shouldn't feel ashamed. I shouldn't feel embarrassed. That's right. And I don't, and I won't, and I will never feel ashamed or embarrassed of who I am and who I actually do love and the struggles that I've been, because it's made me the woman that I am today, and it's going to make me a better person tomorrow.
There you go. And you know, you found your freedom. And when I first started initiating, kind of trying to formulate Angel Wives, I learned a couple of things. A lot of the wives that are with the men that are incarcerated, they are not verbal about it, and some of them are ashamed. Some of them are ashamed. You know, some people may know, some people may not know. Some people may know at work, some people may not know at work. You know, it's never the full picture. You know, you see, you kind of dig into it, and then you get to see. You know, it takes a lot of courage to do what we're doing today, because a lot of people, you know, they have an embarrassment about incarceration, or they feel, well, if I say that I'm going to do, you know, be with my incarcerated person, then I must be up for being used, or I have low self-esteem, or it have to be a reason behind it, you know. But I believe that we're going to change the narrative of a lot of those mindsets by doing this. It said, I'm getting we're hearing sounding like a robot. I'm not really sure why we're having this issue. Let's see. What about now?
It still sounds like it.
It's kind of still sounding like that.
Yeah, and you sound like a robot.
Bad. Is it real bad?
You're the only
Yeah,
one that sounds like a robot.
it's only happening when you talk though.
Okay.
So I'm not.
And it could be because we're doing a live recording and it's double recording my voice. Like it's recording me now and putting me off to YouTube. Well, all of us. So that may be the reason why. But you know, we're gonna close things out for today, and it's just so much more we could say, you know. But I feel like we've put it out there, the main things that we go through. And I just want to say, before I ask all the wives to give one thing before Ms. Tameka is going to close us out today with our motivational word. Everyone out there, you know, we take a lot of sacrifices in these relationships. And you know, we know you didn't ask us to do it. Let's get that out the way. We know that you didn't ask us to be there for them. We know you didn't ask us to marry them. We know you didn't ask us. We get it. You didn't ask. God called us. And God called us for a reason, you know. And we just want to be respected. And we want to get to know us, talk to us. Get to know your loved one. Understand what's going on with the legal situation they are in. Adopt a perspective that, yes, he's married, but he doesn't have a wife. He has a helpmate. So we're not just wives. We're the helpmate, just as if he was married and he's not incarcerated. We're still the helpmate. Our position does not change, or we're not a different kind of wife because he's incarcerated, you know, and there's just no difference in it. And we desire to be loved and respected the same way you love and respect your loved one, because it takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of long suffering, a lot of patience. You know, you don't know the cost of what it takes. You know, if I start asking what's the monthly phone bills, just to talk to our loved ones, you'll be surprised to hear it, you know. But that's what makes us wives. We know how to make those sacrifices, and we don't mind making those sacrifices. You know, not to put it out there in a light that seems on a braggish side, but this is what we love to do, and we ask God to give us the strength and enablement to do it, you know? So if you see that this is what's causing your loved one to be happy, then pick up the phone and say, Miss Janel, Miss Tameka, Miss Tracey, Miss Anquellia, Miss Glenda, Miss Barry, what can I do to help? Have you talked to them this week? Do you have your phone line straight? Are they able to make money on their book account? Do you need some help with that? Because we're not only wives, we're parents. We have to hold the household down. You know, we try to do everything independently so we don't depend so much on everything else. We try to hold our own. So, and we want to have a substantial, successful life too. So check on us and keep those things in mind, because it takes a lot to be a wife, especially in a situation where your husband is incarcerated. It's not a normal situation. It doesn't change the position, because a wife is a wife and a husband is a husband. But the situation around it is not a normal one. And we just ask that you see more of that and respect us in our places. Okay, we're going to be ending everything. I know you ladies, this has been a blessing this afternoon. I hope that everyone has enjoyed our forum on today. Before we close out with Ms. Tameka, I'm going to ask each wife to give one tip for the families out there. One tip. And one tip that you would like to say to them, that this is what I feel that would help your incarcerated loved one through the most. Give that tip, and then right after that, Ms. Tameka Means, follow her at Fit Prison Wife on IG. She's awesome. She's going to close us out with a motivational word. Starting with you, Ms. Janel.
I just want to tell all the wives out there that in Proverbs it does say when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. And I think that we need to stand on that, even though we're prison wives. It's just like you said, at the end of the day, you're still his wife. I think sometimes people discredit women that are prison wives because they feel like, oh, they must not love themselves. But that is not true. And the only thing that really gets me through is the word of God and prayer. And some days are really hard and some days are way better. But I probably pray at least 5-6 times a day. I pray that my husband is safe. I go to God with everything. So that is where I get my strength from. So that is my advice to anyone that's a family member, even if it's not a wife, that's a family member, that you always pray for them. Pray that they're safe. Pray that they make the right decisions while they're incarcerated, because it does make a difference. Because they can progress when they're incarcerated, or they cannot progress. So my advice is just to pray all the time and just go to God with everything.
Awesome, awesome. What about you, Ms. Tracey?
Okay. So my advice would be to, you have an incarcerated loved one, whether it's a husband or a family member, that you always want, like Janelle said, keep them in your prayers for one, but reach out. I mean, a letter, a note, a card, they only cost $1. Throw it in the mailbox. I mean, now they have JPay and all different ways of communicating with your loved ones. I've learned that is very helpful. I was not able to utilize all of these things for my father, who was incarcerated, and he died in the prison before I could have a chance to do that. So I just tell everyone out there to reach out to your loved ones because they need you.
Sorry for your loss, Ms. Tracey. We understand. We understand. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. Barry?
I would like to say that incarcerated people, they need to hear from the outside. We are their light on the inside. I just say that you really have to look back. Everybody knows somebody that's incarcerated, have a cousin, uncle, and when you forget about them, you're just forgetting about so much stuff. I mean, and you can learn so much from them at the same time, but your people actually need you. You don't have to give anything most of the time. Just hearing your voice on the outside is encouraging your loved one on so many different levels and stuff. And you can't forget about them. I mean, in the Bible it say don't forget about those who are incarcerated in prison and stuff like that. So, and you never know, God forbid, you end up in a situation where you want somebody to look back on you. So don't turn your back on people like that that's incarcerated. We're not saying that you have to marry somebody incarcerated or whatever. That's not your ministry. God might not ordain you to do that. But my thing is to look back and help in anything. I mean, it's a lot incarcerated people go through, and you can be a help and some kind of help to them or their family members. So I encourage those who are in the situation that I am in as being wise, the ones who are just coming aboard, you know, it's not easy, but with God, all things are possible, and you just have to believe. I mean, if God promised you that he was going to do what, as far as getting your loved one home, it's just that. And you don't have to look for anybody to validate that. I mean, you want people to help and be on your team, but stop caring about what people say and how they look and how they address you as far as being a prison wife. I mean, they got stuff going on with them out here that, you know, that they, if you was a fly on the wall, you'd be like, what? You know, so you cannot care about that. I mean, you pray on the ones who treat you differently, but in this season, you know, the violence take by force, and that's where I'm at right now. I don't care what it look like, what it say, who say what, whatever, and that matter, but it's just about family right now as far as getting your loved one home. And I encourage those who want to fight as far as getting freedom and its injustice in whatever city and state it is, just be encouraged, because the fight is on. It's on now.
Amen, amen. And Miss Glenda.
First and foremost, I have to say that suicide is the number one thing that inmates go through a lot. We think that men sometimes, you know, they're the strong character, that they don't cry, that they don't think, you know, rash or unrational. They do. They don't. So I would say, you know, that prayers is a good thing. Support, whether it's a letter, whether it's a birthday card, a Christmas card, an Easter card, any type of communication from the outside, whether it's family, friends, you know, anything like that would go good for anyone who's incarcerated, but also for the family that is dealing with the person incarcerated, because we do struggle, you know, with mental health a lot. And even visiting in these facilities, I personally myself have gone into the restroom while in the visit floor and have cried, because I see so much going on. And just to know that in 4 hours I have to leave and leave him there, it's heartbreaking. So I could just imagine what they go through, knowing that they have to stay there and we have to leave, and we don't know when is the next time. I haven't seen my husband since last year, June. So it's been a year and some change. And I don't know when will be the next time that I will be able to see him. Because, you know, to get there, you need actually, you know, cars and all this stuff. So I would say is support him by, you know, communicating with him, but also call that wife, call that daughter, call that sister, whoever you know that's been there, that ride and die, as we say, call them and find out how they're doing, because we cry when we go to bed.
Oh yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Thank you.
We sure do.
Thank you, Miss Berry. Thank you, Glenda. Thank you, Janelle.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Miss Tracey.
My condolences to Tracey as well.
Yes, our condolences to you, Tracey. We praying and standing with you, and we here to support you. You got some girls now that's gonna stand with you, my girl. You and Miss Janelle. We welcome y'all. Y'all the new ladies to the team. And you know, just gonna add this, and Ms. Tameka gonna let us close us out. We have a expansion in the making. We have some more Angel Wives that are interested in joining the team. So I'm actually in prayer right now about expanding. As I said in the beginning, I was not sure what God was gonna do. So I'm just letting him lead and guide, and we're gonna be coming back with a hot topic real soon. We're not gonna make y'all wait 3 weeks for it. Okay, Ms. Tameka, you have the floor.
Thank you. So I feel prompted. Well, first of all, Precious, thank you, because I feel like anyone who's listening, I feel like they have been helped. And with everyone's testimony, Janelle, Glenda, Tracey, Anquellia, I think there's somebody out there that always resonates with us, including myself and you, Precious. So, and I know, like with you, Precious, the whole point of this is to help one person, help touch one person. And I feel like we did that. So that's pretty awesome. I feel compelled right now to have prayer. I'm going to leave some prayer first. Are you guys okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, so It just came on me, so I figured there must be a reason. So let's do that. Let's start with some prayer first. Okay. So Lord, first I want to thank you for gathering us here today. Thank you for your mercy. Thank you for forgiving us for our sins. So, you know, the world may look at the incarcerated people as they are the only sinners of the world, and it's totally untrue. And let's not forget that us who are free people, we have sinned too. And he has forgiven those who are incarcerated and those who are free. And I want to thank God for that, and thank the family, the prison wives who are here supporting those behind bars. And I'm thankful for those people because they are the ones who are in the trenches, and they need just as much strength of the people behind bars, or husbands, or cousins, or brothers and sisters. And I ask that you continue to guide those who are free, who are supporting the loved ones who are behind bars. Give them the strength to continue moving forward. Give them the strength to continue to provide for their family members who are out here, and to continue fighting for their loved ones, because they need strength just as much as the ones behind bars do. So I thank you for providing platforms like this, Lord, to just give women and other family members hope. Give them hope. And I ask that you speak through us and say the right words that are going to inspire somebody, inspire that prison wife who may be contemplating suicide, strengthen that prison wife out there who may be feeling like giving up, strengthen that prison wife out there who may feel like she can't go on, and, you know, she just needs that bit of encouragement. So I ask that you just put that bit of strength just to get through the next day, Lord, so that she may be that stronghold for her husband, for that family member that she is there to support. And I ask all these things in Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you. So, and even if, you know, whatever religion you are, I don't care what background you are, you know, we all need strength to get through this. And I think the one thing that we need to think about is, we're there to support our loved ones, but we also have to remember to put ourselves first as well. Some people might think that's incorrect, but think of it this way. You all have heard how, you know, if the plane is going down, whose mask do you put on first? Yourself. And I'm definitely a firm believer in that, because as I tell my husband all the time, especially when he was incarcerated, I'm blessed that he has just come home. So I'm thankful for that in the midst of COVID, and I pray for all the ladies who are still in the trenches, because I still know what that feels like. It's still fresh. I understand the pain, but you have to take care of you first, because in order to support your husband or support that loved one, you have to be 100% or somewhere near 100% in order to keep providing for him. So that includes maintaining your sanity at first, right? So I was inoperable when I was in that place where I was feeling depressed, feeling lost, and feeling lonely. I was of no assistance to my husband at that time, right? So I had to do what I had to do to get myself in a position so that I could be that support system. So if you are someone out there who is, you know, you're stuck in that place where you're feeling lost, you're in that kind of woe is me place, where you're feeling stagnant and stuck in life, the first thing you need to do is make a decision. And that decision is to make a decision that you're going to get better. Because it's so easy to get caught up in that victim mentality, where you blame. I used to blame my husband, for example, for the way I was feeling. And we can get so caught up in playing the victim, but you're not a victim. You're not a victim. You're choosing to be in that mental state. So once you make a decision that, no, I no longer want to live there, then you can be a better support system for your loved ones. But it starts with you first. I believe everything starts with perspective. Your perspective on the situation controls everything. And I'll give you a prime example. Once I got into a mindset where I realized that I was in control, I could easily take a situation and flip it. So for example, you ladies all know that if your man is not here, there's no physical, well, in Maryland, there's no conjugal visits. There's no, and I think I've been on one family visit in 6 years. But for the most part, there's no physical connection, at least for me. So I can easily look at this situation and say my marriage is not going to make it. right? Or it could be something change the script and change and flip my perspective. My new perspective is this is an opportunity. Oh, can you guys still hear me? It says my internet connection's unstable.
Yes, we can hear. I can hear you.
Yes, okay. So I can change this. Okay, thank you. I can change my perspective and say this is an opportunity for me to strengthen my marriage because now I'm forced to have better communication with my husband.
There you go.
So now this is an opportunity for me. You see how I change and flip the perspective? So by changing your mindset, and you need to do this because we're in a vulnerable position, but taking the opportunity to change your mindset and changing your perspective on the situation is going to help guide you to a place where you're in a positive place.
Yeah.
And as you ladies know, when you're positive, it's going to be a direct in husband. When you're in a negative place, it directly influences your loved one, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So
absolutely.
We have to guard our own space, guard our own mentality, and though we are putting our husbands first and our loved ones first, you also have to not forget, don't neglect yourself. Yes. So learn to love yourself first. And like I think Janel said earlier about, sometimes they view us as we don't love ourselves. And I think it was hard, because we're stigmatized all the time, right?
Yeah.
We assume we're these people and it's not true. So, but that's not the issue. The issue is you making yourself better from the inside out first so that you can be there for your loved one, your husband, and if you have children. Like Glenda, you have 5 children, so you know if you're not together, the ship don't move, right?
No.
That's right. So, ladies, for those of you who
this house will be nowhere.
That's right. So specifically those ladies out there who are struggling right now with this journey, I would say the first thing you need to do is change your perspective. Yeah. I've done so many things. I've had more accomplishments with my husband incarcerated than I had with him gone. That sounds crazy, but it's because I changed my mindset. And I am no different than any other lady out here who's listening, because it's all up here. Once I knew what I was capable of and I believed in myself, there's no way that I can look at my husband and be like, you were the reason why I didn't succeed, or you were the reason that this didn't happen in my life. There is no way.
No way.
No way. Because I am in full control of my life and my future, and I support my husband at the same time. At the same time. So all these ladies that you may see in the groups talking about, they're lonely and sad. Unfortunately, they are making a decision to be in that place. Granted, you have the right to feel that way, but at some point, you got to say, all right, I'm done. I'm
Time
ready
to get up and get up.
Right. You got to make a decision. Make a decision that, all right, I want to better myself, better my life for me and my husband. So my whole goal was to get us in a position so that when he comes home, boom. If he wants to get himself together mentally for the first month, I got the house. The bills are paid, honey. Like, you good. Right? Because I did what I had to do for myself first to make sure that we are good. And I would say just make sure you do that for yourself first. Right? All right, I can go on and on, so I'm going to cut it there.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Awesome.
Work on yourself and change your perspective. Find the good and find the lesson learned in whatever you're dealing with, whatever negative thing or thing you perceive as negative. How can you flip it into something as positive, or you can how can you learn a lesson from it? So that's a takeaway.
Awesome. That was so good. I was kind of in that place the other day. I think we all had our day where we just in that sunken voice me. Y'all, I had the worst voice me the other day, and I didn't pick up. I think I called Anquellia. I think I did. I was having a voice me day, and I know we all go through them, and it's very important for you to have a 911 system that you can call and say, help, and let your hair down, you weave out too, and pray and stand. And that's what we all need. And I want us to grow more into doing that for each other, so we be able to extend that to ladies that are going to be coming aboard Thank you so much, Ms. Tameka. Self-care, I mean, I had to learn it. She's so right. Perspective, I'm telling you, if you don't fix your mind for it, then it's gonna take you over and put you underwater. And I've definitely been in those places, and I've learned so much about doing more self-care for me, because when my mind, it was to the point where when my husband would call at night sometimes, I'd have to say, I'm closed. And I mean, I'm closed, I'm not just mentally closed, because I've gone through so much that day.
That day, yeah.
Nobody to talk to about it, you know, and it's so much to talk about it, overtake me. But self-care, thank you for that, Ms. Tameka. Thank you so much, so much. Well,
I experienced it a lot.
Did it. We are done. Everybody give yourself a clap. Yay, yay, yay. Done. Yay. All right. Give your hand clap, Anquellia. Well, we're going to be coming back to you guys in a few weeks. We'll try not to make it a 3-week wait, because it's starting to get on a higher demand now. We want to come with some more good topics, hot topics. We want to get more into marriage and intimacy next session, ways to strengthen that and keep that going. I know this is something that you don't hear women that's married to men who are incarcerated. You don't hear a lot about how we do our intimacy. So we're going to talk about that. We have a lot of tips, a lot of ideas.
Yes.
Don't want to miss that. And we're going to be talking about some other things too that are really trending right now. And we're just going to keep some more suspenses and surprises, so you're going to have to watch. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank you for having me.
your support, your encouragement. Please follow us, and Incarceration Speaks is at Love Unlocks. Follow us for all updates on the upcoming Angel Wives project. At Love Unlocks, there's the follows for all the ladies you see here on this panel, and I'm going to also tag all of their follows and businesses on the video. You'll be able to watch it again on YouTube. So take care. God bless. We thank you so much for joining us today, and we pray that you have a blessed afternoon. Until next time, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. God bless you all.
God bless you all. Bye.